Just because a pregnant woman like me tend to focus on my own health doesn't mean that I'm spoiling myself. As a pregnant woman, I'm trying to protect the baby growing inside me. So that's why I wouldn't care less what other people say about me behind my back. I also don't care if they try to pick on me, because I'm just trying to protect my precious baby. My baby and I are risking our lives every day just to live each day to the fullest. But my mother-in-law always tries to get in the way and puts my baby and I's lives in danger. I'll never, ever forgive her for this. I'm now in my 9th month of pregnancy. My stomach is getting bigger and bigger each day that it's hard to even look down at my feet. I'm emotionally unstable partly due to the hormonal imbalance of my first pregnancy with the upcoming birth of our baby next month. Knowing what I'm going through, my husband Nick is doing all his best to support me. On his days off, he takes care of all the house chores, including cooking meals, so that I could take a break. Potassium helps ease the swelling, so I made a salad with cucumbers and chicken breast. Nick has been taking very good care of me and my baby. I am extremely grateful. But there's just one person who spoils all these moments. You spoil your wife too much with everything. The person who glared at us, or more precisely at me alone, while she said that was my mother-in-law Lily, who lives with us. The reason we ended up living together was all because of Lily's clever strategy. Lily and her husband had lived in a house together until a few years ago, but after her husband passed away, she could no longer afford to live in that house and decided to move into municipal housing. To apply for it, you needed to win the lottery, and if you couldn't win that, you couldn't live there. The competition must be very high, but to my surprise, Lily happily told Nick that she had won the lottery. So, Nick and I went to Lily's house every weekend to help her pack for the move. Lily rarely moved around and only kept on giving us instructions on what to pack and where to clean. I was forced to not only cook lunch every day, but also to cook dinner for Lily. That vegetable stew was undercooked, so you should learn to cook better, you know. Ignoring all my efforts, Lily would only say negative things about what I do. Thanks to her, I'm always bothered by the issue I have with Lily, even though Nick and I haven't been even married for that long. Nick would try to support me, but when he does, Lily always gets in a bad mood. I'm always the bad guy anyway, right? She sulks just like a child. I felt sorry for Nick, who was always caught in between Lily and I, so every time I would apologize to Lily so she would feel better. So like that, our days of helping Lily had continued. But on the day of the move, a huge amount of her belongings were brought into our house. Huh? Why are they all here? While Nick and I were confused at what was happening, Lily arrived at our house in a taxi. Lily gave instructions to the movers so that they could move in all of her things into the room quickly and efficiently. Nick calls out to her, "What is going on?" Well, you can see what's happening, right? I'm moving in. We ended up finding out that Lily didn't even apply for the municipal housing lottery. She had planned to move in with us from the very beginning and had us help her move by telling lies to us. Lily's belongings were being moved into a room that I had planned to use for our child in the future. She didn't like Nick and I's reaction towards her moving in with us, so she started to make these sarcastic comments. I know it would be annoying for you both if I'm here, but do you think an old person like me could live alone at my age now? I can't even sleep because I'm afraid of what would happen. Then, Lily acts really sad as if we would feel sorry for her. It was nothing but a masterful performance. The movers also heard her, and it looked like they pitied her. After all, I am disturbing your love nest, right? I wouldn't like it if I had an old person live with me. The way she said this was completely on purpose, and it really disgusted me. Oh, that's not true, so don't say that. Nick was tricked by his own mother's tears. Well then, please take care of me well. Thank you. So this was how Lily had moved in, and this was how we were forced to start living together. The nearest municipal housing was already full, so Nick looked for an apartment for Lily, but she wouldn't budge. I don't want to live there unless the apartment's less than 5 years old. Since my only income is pension, I also can't afford the rent. If you can pay me, then I'll consider it. Lily saying things like that in a selfish way had continued, so she continued to live with us. In the meantime, Lily became more and more involved in our private life, and a year passed since she moved in with us. As Lily's daughter-in-law, I couldn't really complain, and eventually it became normal for Nick that Lily was at our home. Since Lily was always at home, it was difficult for me to find a place where I could relax. Not long after that, I found out that I was pregnant. Both Nick and Lily was very happy about it. Lily, who had always treated me so harshly, supported me a lot for the sake of her unborn grandchild. But when she found out that our baby was a girl, her attitude changed drastically. Why isn't the baby a boy? You really are a useless wife. She began to pick on me again. Even when I was dizzy with anemia or lying down since my stomach hurt, she would wake me up without even caring about my health and forced me to do all the house chores. Nick was the only person who can stand between Lily and I. But lately, he has been very busy at work, working overtime and coming home after 10 p.m. Knowing that he's also physically tired, I didn't want him to have to worry about the issues back at home, so I just tried to bear with the situation. I decided to be patient until the birth of my child, but there was a limit to my patience too. It was way better than not taking any action. That's what I thought to myself. One day, Lily's old friend came to visit. She's coming around our town to attend her relative's wedding. So please make sure to take care of her and entertain her well when she comes. She was coming to our house tomorrow. Lily's abruptness is nothing new, so I wasn't really surprised about it. Tomorrow, I can just get some takeout for them. As for the cleaning, Nick did his best to make the living room sparkling clean. So, we were all ready for Lily's friend to come over. But on the day, it unexpectedly rained heavily. It was a very strong rain, almost like it was hailing, since the rain was pounding on the windows. Lily, who was staring blankly outside, says something outrageous to me again. With this kind of rain, I think my friend is stuck at the bus station, so please go pick her up. What? I regret so much about the fact that I questioned her back. Lily, looking in a bad mood, glared at me and says this. Even a pregnant woman can at least drive a car, right? So just go. How could you? I can't. Not with the weather this bad. Being 9 months in my pregnancy period, my stomach is so big that I feel like it's already reached its limit. It's too cramped and painful to drive, and if I should happen to get into an accident due to this weather, it would be just horrible. As I looked into Lily's eyes, I firmly told her that I was worried about picking her friend up in this weather, and that I wanted to give priority to my baby, and that I wanted to rest. Even though I said that, Lily's attitude didn't change at all. You're just spoiling yourself by making ridiculous excuses. I've always listened to whatever my mother-in-law said, even when I was pregnant. But if I drive in this weather and get into an accident, that would be your fault for being careless. Just hurry up and go. Lily, I really can't. I'm sorry. Are you talking back to your own mother-in-law? I can't believe I have to deal with a useless wife like you. Lily's face turned red, and she was furious. Then she grabbed my arm, mercilessly opened the front door, and threw me out. Stunned by the strong rain beating down on my skin, Lily throws the car keys at my feet. Hurry the hell up and just go! While we're arguing like this, my friend is waiting at the bus station, you know? I pleaded to Lily desperately, thinking for the baby in my stomach. There is a different way for your friend to get here, like by a taxi. Just go! Lily tried to close the door, and I, desperate to stop her, fought with her at the front door. I was completely soaked from the rain. Lily stubbornly refused to let me in, despite the fact that a pregnant woman wasn't allowed to get cold. And at that moment, someone put his hand on the door behind me.
What are you doing? Mom, hurry up and let her in.
Nick had come home early. He had come home on time without doing any overtime, due to the bad weather. Nick frowned at the situation. I was finally able to enter the house, and Nick immediately wiped my cold body with a towel. Seeing this, Lily was in a completely bad mood. Why do you always take her side? I am your mother. You're terrible.
You're the one who's terrible, Mom. You're out of your mind letting a pregnant woman out in this heavy rain. What the hell is wrong with you?
Lily was all teary-eyed as Nick raised his voice, which was pretty rare. I didn't do anything wrong. I just told her to pick up my friend with a car. Nick sighed loudly as Lily began to cry in an exaggerated manner. Nick, thinking that talking to Lily won't solve anything, asked me what had happened. I told him everything Lily had done and said to me. Then, Lily, who should have been crying, immediately argued back at what I had explained to Nick. She's lying. She wants to get rid of me and she's just trying to make me look bad. She screamed hysterically and interrupted me to prevent me from speaking any further. Nick tried his best to calm Lily down, but the situation didn't change at all. Instead, it got worse and worse. You are just being brainwashed by her. You used to be a kind and gentle boy who cared for your mother. Just when both Nick and I were completely overwhelmed by Lily's words, the doorbell rang at just the right moment. When we opened the door, Lily's friend, Pauline, was there. Apparently, she had taken a taxi and had arrived safely. Feeling something wrong was going on, Pauline asked me if something had happened. So Lily took this opportunity to start saying bad things about me while explaining the situation. I'm sorry I made you take a taxi all the way out here. I was going to ask Nick's wife to pick you up, but she wouldn't because she's pregnant. Really, most of the young wives nowadays are too spoiled. Lily says this so that her friend would agree with her, but her response was surprising. You tried to get Nick's pregnant wife to pick me up in the middle of a storm like this? How unbelievable! That's called abuse! Lily's smile stiffened at Pauline's straightforward comment. Instead of defending her own friend, Pauline raises her tone and began to criticize Lily even more. Lily, your arrogant attitude toward those who are weaker than you and your attitude toward those who are superior to you haven't changed at all. In fact, you've gotten worse, Lily. Hearing Pauline criticize her like this, Lily began to get upset. And the reason you went all through the trouble of inviting me to come over this time was just to show off your happy self living with your son and his wife, wasn't it? I can see right through you, you know. That's not true. I knew that a person like you would never be able to live together with Nick's wife happily, but I never thought that you would be that horrible to her. Pauline really didn't hold back and kept on going on. To be honest, I was surprised to see Lily unable to argue back to Pauline at all. She looked at me, Nick, and Pauline awkwardly. Perhaps trying to get out of it somehow, Lily began to point at me and say this. I wouldn't have tried to force her to pick you up if she had been nicer to me. And yet, she's always against me. I have all the right reasons to get angry at her. The only time I have ever went against her was just now. But Lily's attitude, where she was showing off that she was not in the wrong, was making me more and more angry. Above all, I couldn't forgive her for putting my baby in danger So I finally decided to take action. I recorded every abusive comments you have ever made about me. I quickly put my own phone in front of everyone. I had actually been recording as evidence every time Lily had accused me of being a crappy wife right from the beginning when we first started living together. No matter how much Lily and I had a bad relationship, she was still Nick's only mother. I didn't really want to do anything that would expose the true nature of such an important person. But if she goes this far, I couldn't keep being silent either. I started to play the recording of the exchange that we just had in the rain at a very loud volume. Then gradually, Lily's face turned pale. Pauline sighed as she listened, and it seemed like she knew this had happened, and Nick had an angry look on his face.
Mom, this is too much. How could you do this to my precious wife?
Nick seemed to be seriously offended, and his voice got really low, filled with anger. The evidence of Lily bullying me got exposed, and Lily flopped down on the spot without making any lame excuses like she would before. After checking on Lily, Pauline quickly got into the taxi which was waiting by the front door. I rushed over to her and thanked her. Thank you very much for what you said back there. Oh, it's okay. I also feel much better now that I've gotten rid of the grudge I had towards her for a very long time. She's always had a bad personality, you know. But Nick seems to have grown up properly, which is a relief. I hope everything goes well with you and your baby. At the front door, I saw Lily slumped over and Nick looking down at her.
Which do you prefer? Living in a nursing home or living alone in an apartment?
Nick seemed to have completely given up on Lily after this incident, and was forcing her to make the ultimate choice between the two in order to stop living with her. I am so sorry. I will do everything with my power to make this right. So please don't abandon me. Despite Lily's pleas, Nick didn't budge at all. He made sure for Lily to decide it by tomorrow and went into the back of the room. I didn't speak to Lily either and quickly began to prepare dinner. When it was time for dinner, Lily still didn't move from where she was. Actually, Pauline came to Nick and I's wedding. It was Pauline who came to our table and secretly whispered to me that she cared about me, as I would have a hard time with Lily, and that she told me that I could consult with her if anything happened to me. Remembering what Pauline had said, I called her and asked her to come over and check on how Lily would abuse me. Pauline gladly accepted my request, and that was how she had come over to our house. Lily refuses to live alone or be in a nursing home. So, Nick just decided to move her into a nursing home. Fortunately, Lily had enough money from her husband's inheritance and savings, so there weren't any money issues. And I had cut off ties from Lily. Lily would send me monthly letters of apology, but I never responded back. I never responded because on the letter, her apology was only one sentence, and the rest of the letter was full of complaints about the nursing home where she lived in. I feel as if someone was always watching me. I would have preferred to live alone. I am not that old yet. Even though she complains like this, it's not like I'll do anything about it for her. Nick also refused to receive the letter from Lily, and since then, she had stopped contacting Nick. In no time, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl on the due date. We are now doing our best to raise our child in our home without Lily. This is what happiness as a couple is all about. Every day I exchange smiles with my husband. I hope the three of us can continue to live together in peace.